Shalom. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Tetzaveh, Exodus chapter 27 through 30. And it continues the tabernacle instructions as we began last week. The construction of the portable shrine, the Mishkan, the tabernacle, that the Israelites built to offer their sacrifices after they left Egypt. Here we read this week the instructions for the making of the special garments that Aaron, who would serve as the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and his children, also priests, would wear for the ceremonies. Aaron's vestments are described with perfect, great detail. The ephod, the long vest or apron, the breastplate, the robe, the sash, the tunic, the headdress with a golden plate inscribed that said, "Holy to the Lord, Kadosh Hashem." The tunics and the sashes and the turbans for the ordinary priests are also talked about at great length as well. Then the Parsha, the Torah portion, continues with instructions for the 7-day ordination ceremony for the priests. That initiation ceremony has some very, let's call them interesting rituals, including this one found in chapter 29, where it says, "Slaughter the ram, and take some of its blood, and put it on the tip of Aaron's right ear, the tips of his son's right ears, on the thumb of their right hands, and on the big toes of their right feet, and then dash the rest of the blood against every side of the altar round about." That's Exodus 29, verse 20. Why did the ordination of the priests include this strange marking of the ears, the hands, and the feet? More importantly, what does it teach us today? Our tradition does not see reading these rituals today as just some reminder of an ancient world long gone, but as a guide to teach important and powerful lessons. Here may be something that leaders, especially religious leaders, should take to heart and practice. Let's think about it. Ear, hand, foot. These body parts of the priests were consecrated, maybe to remind them, and every leader, religious or secular for that matter, that as they are about to be elevated to their lofty positions, this is what they must possess: an ear, not just to listen to God, but to hear the cries of the people, to be cognizant of their needs. Hands, not just reaching out in prayer or to accept the offerings due them, but extended to bestow blessing on the vulnerable who are reaching out for help. And feet, legs that will run not just to the temple, but to help whoever has fallen and is in need. Rabbi Chaim Soloveitchik, one of the great scholars of the 20th century, he was one of the great Talmudic scholars. He was asked what a rabbi's function is. And he replied very simply, to redress the grievances of those who are abandoned and alone, to protect the dignity of the poor, and to save the oppressed from the hands of the oppressor. That's how a community leader is supposed to serve, according to Rabbi Soloveitchik. That's something to aspire to. My friends, we're living in an age where religious leaders need to remember, in the words of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, that their greatest passion should be compassion. And leaders in all fields should realize that their role should be to advocate not for those whose voices are always heard, including God, but those who cry out and are not being heard. Act not for those who can do for themselves, but those who are helpless and need a hand. And run not after those who have allies, but those who need an advocate and a friend. I would hope that as Aaron and his children were initiated with this ceremony, they paused and realized that they were not just about to serve God, but more so, they were just about to serve God's most vulnerable and broken souls. And I pray that in our roles as leaders and perhaps religious guides, that we too remember that our ears, our hands, our feet are here not just to serve God, but God's children, first and always. Shabbat Shalom.